normal big life.
For stomach churns, energy tanks, you find yourself laying on the bathroom floor holding your stomach because it's the only thing that makes you feel okay. And you're not alone. In the United States, 60 to 70 million people grapple with digestive disorders, from irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and irritable bowel disorder, IBD, to gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD. Specialists say chronic gut issues can trigger anxiety and depression. U.S. veterans face a particularly tough battle. Gastrointestinal issues account for over 500,000 annual visits to Veterans Health Administration facilities. In fact, Joe, an Iraq War Marine Corps veteran, reached out to me on X for help with this important topic. Globally, the numbers are staggering. Over 3 billion people suffer from gut-related issues. Let's unpack gut health and how to fix it naturally. Hi friends, welcome to the New Normal Big Life podcast. We bring you natural news and stories about nature that we hope will inspire you to get outside and adventure, along with a step-by-step plan to help you practice what you've learned and create your own new normal and live the biggest life you can dream. I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, NIDDK, estimates that 60 to 70 million Americans live with diagnosed digestive diseases. That's roughly 1 in 5 people dealing with conditions like IBS, GERD, Crohn's disease, or chronic constipation. A 2022 American Gastrological Association, AGA, survey revealed that 40% of Americans, about 130 million people, have had bowel symptoms disrupt their routines. We normalize the conversation around uncomfortable GI symptoms. Patients need to know they're normal and ask questions early. Dr. Rajiv Jain, board-certified gastroenterologist. Globally, the picture is even grimmer. A 2020 study from the Rome Foundation found that 40% of adults across 33 countries, roughly over 3 billion people, meet criteria for functional gastrointestinal disorders, or FGIDs. Professor Dr. Jan Tak, head of gastroenterology at UZ Leuven, emphasizes these disorders demand more awareness. They're critical for clinicians and policymakers. The Global Burden of Diseases study in 2019 reported 2.28 billion cases of digestive diseases worldwide, from infections to chronic conditions like colorectal cancer. But here's the human toll. For many, gut issues aren't just physical. Take Sarah, a 34-year-old teacher from Ohio. She shared her story with the AGA. I'd be bloating so bad I couldn't teach my class. I felt embarrassed, isolated, and honestly scared something was seriously wrong. Sarah's experience mirrors millions who face stigma and delay care. A 2023 MDVIP survey found that 2/3 of U.S. adults report recurrent symptoms like bloating or abdominal pain, yet many avoid seeking help due to shame or dismissal. Mental health takes a hit too. Dr. Douglas Drussman, a gastroenterologist and founder of the Rome Foundation, explains, gut-brain interactions are real. Chronic gut issues can trigger anxiety and depression, creating a vicious cycle. Studies show that up to 30% of IBS patients experience mental health challenges, compounding their suffering. Veterans have a unique gut health burden. U.S. veterans face a particularly tough battle. A 2021 PMC study reported that gastrointestinal issues account for over 500,000 annual visits to the Veterans Health Administration facilities. Veterans may have a higher rate of gut-related conditions, possibly due to poor nutrition during deployments, deployment-related environmental toxins like chemicals and depleted uranium, stress, or exposure to pathogens. I served 2 tours in Iraq, says John, a 42-year-old veteran from Texas, in a VA blog post. My stomach issues started there, and they never went away. It's like my body's still fighting a war, he says. With about 18 million veterans in the U.S., rough estimates suggest 3 to 3.8 million may have gut issues based on general population prevalence. But the PMC study cautions further research is needed to verify prevalence in veterans compared to civilians. But unique factors like post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD or environmental exposures may elevate our risk. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I'm an 11-year U.S. Army veteran. Listen to the podcast trailer episode to learn my story and challenges with a hidden disability after surviving a TBI, broken back, and chronic health concerns. However, exact numbers of U.S. veterans exposed to depleted uranium, DU weapons are uncertain. DU weapon exposure is uncertain due to limited comprehensive data and challenges in tracking exposure. However, estimates and studies provide some insight based on military operations where depleted uranium DU was used, primarily during the 1991 Gulf War, Operation Iraqi Freedom, OIF, Operation Enduring Freedom, OEF, and Operation New Dawn, OND. In 1991 Gulf War, the Institute of Medicine estimates that more than 700 veterans may have experienced level 2 exposure, intermediate exposure from working on depleted uranium-contaminated vehicles or cleanup efforts, such as after 1991 Camp Doha fire in Kuwait. Thousands of veterans may have had level 3 exposure, lower level exposure from being downwind of burning in vehicles or entering contaminated tanks. The depleted uranium follow-up program at the Baltimore VA Medical Center monitors a small cohort of Gulf War veterans exposed through friendly fire incidents, but exact numbers for this group are not publicly specified, though it's described as a small group. Post-1991 conflicts such as OIF, OEF, and OND, depleted uranium was used extensively in Iraq in 2003, with estimates of 1,000 to 2,000 tons of depleted uranium munitions fired during the Iraq War, compared to 300 tons in the 1991 Gulf War. Veterans involved in combat, cleanup, or salvage operations in these conflicts face potential exposure, according to a Harvard study. The Department of Defense notes that exposure occurred primarily through friendly fire incidents, proximity to burning depleted uranium-containing vehicles, or handling contaminated debris. No precise count of exposed veterans is provided, but 1.5 million U.S. troops were deployed to OIF and OEF, with a subset potentially exposed, according to the National Institutes of Health. Specific exposure scenarios include veterans at the Karshi Khanabad Air Base in Uzbekistan, where depleted uranium contamination from Soviet forces was possible, and those on firing ranges using depleted uranium munitions. Exposure levels and monitoring is not comprehensive. The VA's depleted uranium follow-up program focuses on veterans with confirmed or suspected exposure, particularly those in or near vehicles hit by depleted uranium munitions, rescuers, or those involved in salvage operations. Veterans self-report exposure via questionnaires such as the DoD Form 2872, and urine test measures uranium levels according to the National Institutes of Health. A 2008 OIM reports that thousands of veterans may have had low-level or level 3 exposure to depleted uranium, but precise counts are elusive due to inconsistent exposure documentation. Before we cover the next topic in this episode, I want to introduce you to the adventure sports lifestyle with what I call a micro-story about an adventure that I've had. The adventure sports lifestyle and my deep connection to nature is essential to my good health, so here's the story. On a day when I woke up just angry at the world, not for any particular reason, life is good, my health is in reasonably good shape, I don't really have anything to complain about, but I just woke up, angry. And I really struggled to work. I wasn't focused. It was difficult to socialize. And so I decided I needed something where I can put my complete focus in a task that was more of a body movement oriented task versus a cerebral task like writing or research. So I went outside to my backyard archery range and I shot arrows in the early afternoon heat until I was exhausted. And you know something? I wasn't angry anymore. The amount of energy that I put into lining up my shot, controlling my body, and focus on the task at hand made all my negative feelings just melt away. That's the importance of finding an outdoor hobby that you fall in love with. I did that. I hope this inspires you to get outside and adventure alone, with friends, or other people you love most. Now back to the health implications and veteran testimonies. While the VA and DoD state no significant health effects have been conclusively linked to depleted uranium exposure in monitored cohorts, some studies in veterans raise concerns. For example, Dr. Doug Roque, a former U.S. Army health physicist who worked on depleted uranium cleanup, told Al Jazeera, quote, "When we went to clean up the depleted uranium after the Gulf War, we were told it was safe, but we saw respiratory issues and rashes right away. The long-term risks are real," end quote. Garrett Repenhagen, a veteran who served in Iraq from 2004 to 2005, described to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, quote, "I tried to stay away from the burn pits and contaminated areas, but you can't always avoid it. We weren't warned enough about depleted uranium's risk," end quote. Without precise records, a conservative estimate suggests 10,000 to 50,000 U.S. veterans across these conflicts may have been exposed to depleted uranium at some level, with higher risk groups like friendly fire survivors and cleanup crews numbering in the multi-thousands. Some veterans report gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea, pain, and diarrhea at debilitating levels, potentially linked to depleted uranium exposure. A Hill and Ponton article lists gastrointestinal problems among possible depleted uranium-related symptoms, though no definitive causal link is established. So here are some recommendations for veterans concerned with depleted uranium exposure and what it may be doing to their overall health and gut health in particular. Veterans concerned with depleted uranium exposure can contact the VA's environmental health coordinators for screening or join the Depleted Uranium Follow-up Program at publichealth.va.gov. You can find a link to the VA's environmental health coordinators group in the show description and the episode website. This potential link between depleted uranium exposure among U.S. veterans and the service members of our international allies serving in the region also impacts civilians in those war-torn countries and their neighboring nations. Before we widen our focus beyond the veteran gut health crisis, there are other important gut health factors to consider. Any forward deployed service member surviving on meals ready to eat or MREs can attest to its negative impact on their gut health. Another Iraq War infantryman said, quote, "I offered a starving stray dog an MRE in a war zone, and the dog refused to eat it. He smelled the open MRE packet, then looked at me like I was trying to poison him. That makes me wonder what kind of toxic food they were feeding us." End quote. Many people, like mountaineers, camping, and RV enthusiasts and preppers, use long-term storable meals. But here's why I stress the importance of buying storable food from a company like my affiliate, Ready Hour. In an MRE or meal ready to eat, it's much different from what you'd get from a company like Ready Hour. MREs are a self-contained individual field ration developed by the U.S. military for service members in combat or other field conditions where fresh food or kitchen facilities are unavailable. MREs are designed to be lightweight, portable, and durable, providing a complete meal with sufficient calories, 1,200 to 1,300 calories per meal, to sustain troops in high-stress environments. Each MRE typically includes a main entree like beef stew, chili, or pasta, a side dish like rice, fruit, or crackers, and snacks like nuts, candy, or energy bars, beverages like powdered drinks and coffee, and even electrolyte drinks. Then you'll have your accessories, and it's packaged in a vacuum-sealed, durable, waterproof pouch to withstand harsh conditions. Sounds great, right? MREs are primarily used by the U.S. military, but are also popular among preppers, like I said. And you should really consider choosing another source if you have an option. I know if you're still in the military, you don't have an option, but other people do. As a person who ate a fair number of MREs during my 11-year period in the Army, I had constant stomach pain and bouts of going too much or being unable to go for months after eating MREs. After leaving the Army, like most veterans, I was diagnosed with several gut problems. The shelf life of an MRE depends on storage conditions, particularly temperature, as heat accelerates degradation. According to the U.S. Army's official guidelines, MREs are designed to have a 3 to 5 year shelf life depending on storage conditions. But again, what's in it, right? Ready Hour products have a 25-year shelf life, and the ingredients are really clean. So if you have an MRE and you store it at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, you'd get about a 3-year shelf life according to the manufacturer. If you store it at 60 degrees, you'd have about a 5-year shelf life. The DLA specifies that MREs are tested to remain safe and palatable for at least 36 months under optimal conditions. MREs, while nutritionally balanced, they say, are high in sodium and processed ingredients, which some veterans report exacerbate or make worse digestive issues like pain, bloating, or constipation, especially during prolonged use in the field. A VA study on veteran gastrointestinal health suggests diet-related stressors may contribute to such symptoms, but I feel the major concern is the quality of MRE ingredients. Even those familiar snacks and pantry staples at the grocery store, the ones with government-approved labels, might contain chemicals so dangerous they're banned across Europe and Canada, yet in America, they lurk in plain sight, hidden behind cryptic names and industry loopholes. Catch the Toxic Secrets, What's Really in Your Food episode of the New Normal Big Life podcast and download your list of food ingredients to avoid and all the different ways they show up on food packages in the show description. After a short break, we'll talk about breaking the silence and so much more on gut health crisis in America. World events are constantly teaching everyone some very painful lessons. Without warning, everything we take for granted can suddenly fail. And if you're not prepared in advance, you really don't have a chance. The fact is, the modern world runs on a just-in-time supply schedule. Even the biggest grocery stores can carry only enough food for a few days' worth of normal shopping. So when disaster strikes and chaos ensues at your local stores, the odds are simply against you. If you don't have emergency food and gear stockpiled in advance, you will probably suffer. My partner, Ready Hour, is here to help you ahead of time. Ready Hour has a long history of providing calorie-rich, reliable, and delicious nourishment for life's unexpected situations, and critical emergency gear too. They're part of a family of companies that have served millions of people like you for decades. My family and I use Ready Hour products for camping, mountaineering, and disaster preparedness for 5 years now. They're not just reliable, they're also your affordable option too. Long-term survival food shouldn't break the bank. That's why they have great sales and payment options for you. It's your bridge to safety and survival when things just aren't normal anymore. So make your next decision your smartest decision. Be ready for tomorrow, today. Trust Ready Hour. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link in the show description. There is some good news on the gut health crisis in America front. The good news is awareness is growing. Dr. Jane urges early conversations with providers can help make a difference. Digestive health issues are on the rise, implicating millions with conditions like leaky gut, gastritis, and irritable bowel syndrome. These disorders often are tied to diet, lifestyle, or autoimmune factors, and they can disrupt daily life with symptoms like bloating, pain, and fatigue. Fortunately, natural approaches such as dietary shifts, probiotics, and stress reduction offer relief for many, including veterans who benefit from tailored programs. Understanding your body and making informed choices can transform your gut health. So let's talk about your body's major systems and how they work. The body has 13 major systems, which we'll cover in a future podcast, but today let's focus on the systems related to gut and intestinal health. So the digestive system breaks down food into nutrients the body can absorb and eliminates the waste. Its components include the mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestines, liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Incorporating fermented foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, and kimchi can enhance gut bacteria, which is crucial for digestion. Research suggests that probiotics help in identifying harmful pathogens from normal cells, supporting digestive health. A diet high in fiber from plant foods feeds the gut microbiome, which can improve digestion and nutrient absorption. Proper hydration aids in digestion, helping to prevent constipation and promote regular bowel movements. It's recommended that every person drink half their body weight in ounces of water daily, more in a higher temperature and when physically active. So a 150-pound person should drink a minimum of 75 ounces of water daily. Digestive enzymes, prebiotics, probiotics, dill seed and leaf, lemon balm, chamomile flower, fiber, and ginger root are just a few of the herbal supplements supporting digestive health, and we're going to give you a comprehensive list before we're done today. Let's talk about the immune system. The immune system defends the body against disease by identifying and neutralizing pathogens and other harmful agents. It's comprised of white blood cells, the lymphatic system, the spleen, the thymus, and bone marrow. A diet rich in vitamin C, D, and zinc directly supports immune function. Dr. Karen White from the CDC highlights the importance of these nutrients in enhancing immunity. Adequate sleep is a vital part of immune system health, helping in the production and function of immune cells. Dr. Baller notes that the need for 7 to 9 hours of sleep is crucial to boost immunity. Again, proper hydration is crucial as it supports all bodily functions, including immune response, by maintaining optimal conditions for white blood cells to function. Quercetin, bromelain, zinc, magnesium, and vitamin C and D will support immune health, and we're going to give you so much more about natural remedies and other supplements to support immune health before we end this podcast episode today. The urinary system filters blood to remove waste and excess substances leading to urine production. It includes the kidneys, ureters, bladder, and urethra. Again, drinking plenty of water helps in flushing out toxins. Dr. Robert Greene states that hydration is key to kidney function as it helps in elimination. That's your poo and your urine. Reducing salt can lessen the work on kidneys and improving their efficiency in waste removal. Herbal supplements supporting the urinary system include oregano, cranberry juice, lemon, and other citrus fruits, coconut oil, berberry, D-mannose, and goldenrod. We'll talk more about that later. Let's talk about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system returns fluid from tissues to the blood, absorbs fats from the digestive system, and aids in immune response. It includes the lymph nodes, vessels, thymus, and spleen. A poorly functioning lymphatic system can cause fluid to back up in your body, which is known as lymphedema, and an increased weight gain. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I've struggled with lymphedema, but it's currently in remission, and you can learn about it in that episode. So here are some natural ways to boost your lymphatic system. Lymphatic massage, which is the manual process, or you can also use a machine, and you can learn about that in the lymphedema episode. The machine and other types of physical activity promotes lymphatic flow, enhancing the system's ability to transport fluids and immune cells. Dr. Darling suggests at least 10 minutes of daily exercise. Check out our episode on lymphedema to learn more about this health condition. Your swollen face, neck, arms, legs, feet, or ankles could be a sign of a significant health problem. Hydration helps in the flow of lymphatic fluid, supporting the system's detoxification role. Echinacea, plantain leaf powder, yarrow, valerian, licorice root, dandelion root, red clover flower, burdock, echinacea, I said that already, and elderberry can support your lymphatic system. And we have a dandelion gummies recipe available on the podcast now. Be sure to listen to this episode wherever you get your podcasts. After this short break, we're going to talk about understanding common digestive disorders and so much more.
Antoinette's go-to natural sleep aid is lab-tested for purity, NanoNutra's liposomal melatonin spray. When psychosocial stress is high, like during the riots, the increased crime over the past few years, during the early COVID lockdown days, and the rapid change in government policies and geopolitical unrest recently, she needs a little more natural help to fall asleep and stay asleep. NanoNutra's liposomal supplements combine nature and science to unlock your optimal health and well-being. NanoNutra's melatonin sublingual spray is the best solution for supporting a restful sleeping pattern. The melatonin liquid perfectly mimics naturally produced melatonin to greatly improve the quality of sleep, combat difficult sleep patterns, and act as effective sleep aid relief. This non-GMO liposomal melatonin sleep aid allows you to enjoy the amazing benefits faster than anything else. With minute-sized particles that are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream, you won't have to wait for hours for the sleep relief to kick in. 75 servings per container. With a recommended serving size of 2 sprays, each container provides 75 servings of melatonin 3 milligrams. That's over 2 months of perfectly restful nights and rejuvenated mornings, giving you a melatonin supplement with unmatched value for your money. This is great-tasting melatonin. This melatonin sublingual 3 mg spray is pleasantly flavored to make supplementing with the sleep remedy as easy as possible. No more dealing with hard-to-swallow melatonin tablets or unpalatable sleep-chewable solutions. Made with the utmost quality standards. All products are made in a GMP-certified facility that complies to the same standards as pharmaceutical companies. Every ingredient is tested in-house by a world-recognized third-party lab to ensure sleep aids for adults of absolute quality. Melatonin has the following proven health benefits. Has 6 to 10 times the antioxidant properties of vitamin E. Works as an immune system booster. Improves mood and promotes better concentration. Helps reduce menstrual disturbances for better sleep. Stop feeling sleep deprived and get your best rest tonight with NanoNutra liposomal melatonin spray at the Health Ranger store using my affiliate link in the show description.
Understanding common digestive disorders. Digestive diseases are increasingly common, with causes ranging from poor diet to imbalanced gut bacteria or immune conditions. We're going to talk about 3 prevalent issues. Leaky gut syndrome is up first. Leaky gut, or increased intestinal permeability, occurs when the gut lining becomes too porous, allowing toxins, undigested food, and microbes to leak into surrounding tissues or the bloodstream. This can spark inflammation, alter gut flora, and worsen autoimmune or digestive problems, or both. Symptoms include diarrhea, fatigue, allergies, ulcers, or autoimmune flare-ups. Keeping a health journal to track symptoms is crucial for identifying triggers. Let's take a moment to understand the gut. So, what is gut flora? Gut flora, also known as gut microbiota or microbiome, refers to the diverse community of microorganisms, primarily bacteria, but also fungi, viruses, and archaea, living in the digestive tract. Especially the large intestine. These microbes play a crucial role in digestion, immunity, and overall health. The human gut hosts trillions of microorganisms with over 1,000 different bacterial species, collectively containing about 100 times more genes than the human genome. Gut flora helps break down food, produce vitamins, regulate metabolism, and protect against harmful pathogens. According to the National Institutes of Health, gut flora is essential for maintaining a balanced immune system and influences everything from digestion to mental health via the gut-brain axes. An imbalance in gut flora, known as dysbiosis, is linked to conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, obesity, and even anxiety. Dr. Justin Soderberg, a microbiologist at Stanford University, explains in a 2021 NIH article, "The gut microbiota is like an ecosystem that shapes our health. Diet is the biggest driver of its composition, and a diverse microbiome is key to resilience." Next, we're talking about gastritis. Gastritis involves inflammation of the stomach lining, often linked to poor diet. Overuse of pain medications also can contribute to this problem, or bacterial overgrowth like Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori. It commonly overlaps with leaky gut and shares symptoms like nausea, vomiting, indigestion, upper abdominal pain, or a feeling of fullness after meals. Left untreated, gastritis can lead to serious complications such as a stomach ulcer. Next is irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS. IBS is a type of inflammatory bowel disease, or type of IBD. It affects the large intestine, causing symptoms like cramping, bloating, gas, diarrhea, or constipation. Like leaky gut and gastritis, IBS is often tied to dietary triggers, stress, or gut flora imbalances. Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are two other forms of IBD. It involves chronic inflammation of the intestines and requires similar management strategies. Dr. Imran Mayer, a gastroenterologist and author, notes in a UCLA Health article, "The gut-brain axis plays a critical role in digestive disorders. Stress and diet directly influence gut health, and imbalances in microbiota can amplify symptoms," end quote. I've personally spent decades enduring tests, scopes, and cameras invading me from one end of my body to the other to diagnose the root cause of my stomach disorders and chronic widespread inflammation. I received many diagnoses from gluten sensitivity, food allergies, lymphedema, a lupus-like autoimmune disease, valley fever, listeria, and IBS and IBD. My legs, core, face, and neck had swollen to 3 times their normal size, and I gained 40 pounds. But I was gaslit by 7 doctors. In 2020, I was at the peak of my physical health as a sponsored athlete, adventure sports athlete, and you can scroll through my timeline on X and see lots of photos and video of me doing all the outdoorsy things. So I'm speaking from personal experience here. Over 4 weeks, I challenged myself in 2022 with intense activities including whitewater kayaking on the Arkansas River and the Cache La Puta River in Colorado, followed by summiting Medicine Bow Peak and Baxter's Pinnacle in Wyoming. Mere days later, I pushed my limits further by attempting to climb the Grand Tetons. However, by January 2024, my physical condition had deteriorated dramatically. I required the support of a cane to walk, and it scared me because back in 2013, I had been using a walker, service dog, and a full-time caregiver. Despite following a strict whole food diet, maintaining regular exercise, and continuing my adventures several times a week, I inexplicably gained 40 pounds. The swelling and weight gain were confusing, as they seemed to defy my otherwise healthy lifestyle and dedication to fitness. This unexpected health decline left me searching for answers. It was tough. Worse, 2 general practitioners and 3 specialists, a nephrologist, rheumatologist, and cardiologist, didn't believe my story about unexplained weight gain. They gaslit me. They all said I'm putting on a little weight and talked about body positivity. We'll talk about the body positivity movement's negative consequences in a future podcast, believe me. But for this conversation, I know that one specialist asked me if I thought I was living in the wrong gender. Now, I don't know how the conversation with my cardiologist went from discussing concerns about unexplained weight gain, chronic fatigue, swelling, and worries for my heart as a result of these conditions to his suggestion that I have gender dysphoria, but there we were. In total, 5 doctors tried to refer me to mental health rather than take my symptoms seriously. When I finally found a country doctor who did believe me and ran some tests, it turned out I had dangerously high inflammation markers. A rheumatologist suspected both valley fever and an unspecified autoimmune disease. After 3 months of using the LifeWave red light therapy patches, which we'll talk about in another episode, instead of using prednisone, which most doctors would recommend in this situation, I lowered my C-reactive protein, or CRP, by 20 points. After 10 days on ivermectin prescribed by a general practitioner to treat the listeria and 90 days of hydroxychloroquine for the valley fever and lupus-like symptoms, all symptoms are now completely in remission, and I've lost the weight. I also found a gastroenterologist who had a theory they were testing on patients like me. In medicine, when a patient presents with multiple symptoms that don't clearly fit into a single diagnosis, the condition is often referred to as medically unexplained symptoms, or MUS. A syndrome of multiple symptoms, or sometimes idiopathic multi-symptoms illness, are other names often used. These terms describe a situation where a patient experiences a constellation of symptoms such as fatigue, pain, digestive disorders, neurological complications that lack a clear, unifying medical explanation after thorough evaluation. And when I say thorough evaluation, some of these tests were so painful, and I screamed so much, "Please make them stop." I was calling out to Matt, begging him to make them stop, that when I walked out in the waiting room, staff and patients were crying at hearing me. So when I tell you it's not difficult, it's not easy to diagnose gut health problems, believe me. But this one doctor's unorthodox recommendation and killing off parasites that I already mentioned changed my life. The doctor recommended that I undergo a gluten challenge. He encouraged me to eat all the wheat products I wanted for 14 days. I was instructed to keep a journal recording the product name, source, whether or not it was GMO or non-GMO wheat, the date, and any symptoms. After 14 days, I realized that I wasn't allergic to wheat or gluten sensitive. I was sensitive to genetically modified wheat. In an upcoming podcast, I'll share an interesting theory on why some people's bodies cannot process GMO foods. But from my experience, you can see how you might have a multi-symptom illness that requires unconventional treatments, especially if you've tried all the conventional medicine solutions with minimal impact and unwanted side effects. So, if you're struggling with gut health problems, you want to avoid inflammatory triggers, including processed foods, seed oils, synthetic dyes, pesticides, irradiated foods, artificial sugars, excessive caffeine, excessive alcohol, antibiotic-laden meats, and for some, GMO foods and gluten-containing grains. A 2023 study in Nutrients found that diets high in processed foods disrupt gut microbiota, worsening conditions like IBS. I struggled with low blood sugar and gut issues, says Anna, a blogger who shared her journey on Mind Body Green. Switching to a Mediterranean diet with fermented foods like sauerkraut and cutting out processed snacks made a huge difference. I felt energized and less bloated within weeks. I felt the same, Anna. So let's talk about incorporating probiotics and prebiotics into your diet. Probiotics introduce beneficial bacteria to the gut while prebiotics nourish them. An imbalance in gut flora, such as overgrowth of H. pylori or Candida albicans yeast, can trigger or worsen leaky gut gastritis or IBS. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Microbiology showed that probiotics from fermented foods can reduce inflammation and improve gut barrier function. Foods like mushrooms and non-GMO oats can boost good bacteria in as little as 4 weeks, and we'll talk about that in more detail soon. So let's explore which lifestyle changes are recommended for your good gut health. Stress management techniques such as prayer, meditation, or yoga can ease the gut-brain axis disruption. Intermittent fasting, when tolerated, can enhance microbial diversity and reduce intestinal inflammation, per a 2022 Nature Reviews gastroenterology study. However, fasting isn't suitable for everyone. Personally, I can't fast because I have a low blood sugar problem. Veterans, there's support for you. Veterans with digestive issues can access the VA's Whole Health Program, which integrates nutrition, mental health support, and lifestyle changes. My VA nutritionist helped me pinpoint food triggers, says John, a veteran from Texas, in a VA blog. I'm not fully healed, but I'm managing my life better now, he says. However, some veterans report mixed experience. In my case, I knew more about natural blood sugar remedies than my VA nutritionist in my experience. We'll talk about more on the healthcare providers' lack of nutritional knowledge and why that is and how to get around it. But gut health carries a stigma. But open conversations about gut health are vital. Learning about your digestive system and natural remedies empowers you to take charge. Talking about gut issues was embarrassing at first, says Anna, but sharing my story helped me connect with others and find solutions. Medical professionals like Dr. Mayer stress that education and early intervention can prevent complications. So here's how to take control of your gut health with vitamins, minerals, and herbs. Natural strategies for gut health are plentiful, believe it or not. Relief from digestive issues often start with lifestyle changes like reducing toxins in your environment. Some of the biggest toxic offenders are indoor mold, pet hair, and what gets trapped in your pet hair. And you want to work to eliminate toxins in food ingredients, candles, scents that you wear on your body, cleaning products, the off-gassing of materials such as plastics, and health and beauty products. Next, you might consider testing for food allergies. If you have celiac disease or are gluten sensitive, doctors recommend avoiding gluten, which is found in many products, so read your labels carefully. Tree nuts, soy, peanuts, cow dairy, red meat, pork, eggs, and soy are common food allergies. So here's how to optimize your diet for good gut health. Diet is the cornerstone of gut health. Foods can either soothe or worsen inflammation, especially for those with autoimmune conditions like me. An anti-inflammatory diet, such as a Mediterranean style, emphasizes whole foods like leafy greens, fresh fish, rich in omega-3s, fruits, vegetables, olive oil, and bone broth. My guy's ancestors are Mediterranean, and he cooks 90% of the time while I bake breads and sweets, so it's easy for us to have a Mediterranean diet from the best ingredients we can find or grow ourselves. In future podcasts, I'll help you develop tasty Mediterranean recipes because cooking is a life skill, a survival skill, and a good health skill. Prebiotic foods like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, apples, chia seeds, flax seeds, dandelion greens, and blueberries feed beneficial gut bacteria. Again, I'll give you some future recipes and ways to use these prebiotic foods. Probiotic-rich foods such as kimchi, kombucha, sauerkraut, miso soup, full-fat yogurt without RBST that also contains live cultures, kefir, pickles, traditional buttermilk, and natto help restore gut flora balance. Vitamins and herbs supporting the autoimmune and gut health are plentiful, and here's a comprehensive list. Well, I won't call it a comprehensive list, but it's very thorough. Very concentrated liquid extracts of herbs are called tinctures. Tinctures are one of the most popular ways to take herbal medicine internally. Tinctures are especially good at treating acute symptoms. Teas can be better used for treating chronic conditions. Although most tinctures are made with alcohol as a solvent, some people prefer not using alcohol. Vegetable glycerin or apple cider vinegar are great substitutes for alcohol. When treating an acute condition with a tincture, 1 to 2 drops per day is recommended. I'll talk more about tinctures and how to make them in a future podcast. For now, you might consider using one of the recommended mushroom tinctures for treating your gut condition. Remember, the podcast website has a link to download this list. So let's talk about medicinal mushroom tinctures for immune system health and autoimmune conditions. Turkey tail. And remember, you don't need to write this down. You can download the list. Turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, and lion's mane help balance an overstimulated immune system. Keep in mind that roughly 2 to 4 million people globally have a true mushroom allergy, which can lead to difficulty breathing. If you're unsure about mushrooms, take a small test before starting a mushroom tincture regimen. Whenever I'm trying a new supplement, I have children's liquid Benadryl close by. Usually 3 drops of liquid Benadryl under my tongue can quickly stop anaphylaxis or an allergic reaction. Next, I recommend, well, not me, experts recommend adding turmeric and black pepper tincture for lowering inflammation. I use this on a daily basis. CoQ10, 500 milligrams daily, vitamins D and K2 work together. Consider taking 2,000 to 5,000 international units or IU daily of vitamin D in winter, less if you're spending time outdoors in the summer, and vitamin K2 at 80 micrograms daily. Essential fatty acids like omega-3, EPA, and DHA. Vitamin B12. Have your doctor test your levels before starting vitamin B12 to determine your baseline and a recommended starting dose. Boost your glutathione production or take acetylated glutathione, 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily. I use LifeWave's glutathione patch to naturally boost glutathione levels. I'll have an upcoming podcast on the glutathione patch and glutathione benefits in a future podcast. So here are the vitamins and herbs supporting leaky gut, gastritis, and IBS. Gastritis is a condition caused by inflammation of the stomach lining. It's often associated with leaky gut syndrome, and both often have an autoimmune issue at the core of each disease. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, primarily affects the large intestine or colon. It's kind of an inflammatory bowel disease that causes several types of discomfort. For example, digestive issues, diarrhea, gas and bloating, constipation, cramping, and abdominal pain are fairly common. IBS is often linked to leaky gut syndrome, and sometimes clinicians will treat you for IBS or gastritis or leaky gut syndrome, but you might have all of the above. The recommendations below will help leaky gut, gastritis, and IBS. To help ease the symptoms of IBS and gastritis, consider trying 800 to 1,000 milligrams of slippery elm 3 to 4 times per day as a supplement tincture or tea. If you have IBS, 1 to 2 tablespoons of chopped marshmallow root per cup of cold water, taken 3 times per day, is recommended. Marshmallow root forms a protective layer over the damaged gut mucosal layer. Omega-3 fatty acids help reduce inflammation. It also reduces oxidative stress and can help keep chronic gut conditions in remission. The recommendation is 1.5 grams daily for men and 1 gram for women. Vitamin D at 4,000 IU per day is recommended, but know your baseline levels first. Digestive enzymes before or after a meal can help the body break down carbs, proteins, and complex sugars, which reduces the chance of inflammation after meals. Take care not to drink a lot of liquids for 1 hour after taking digestive enzymes, because digestive enzymes are water soluble. If you're in the habit of drinking liquids with meals, like wine or water or tea, you might be flushing away your beneficial digestive enzymes. Collagen powder can help boost the production of gastric juices, which repair the intestinal mucosal lining. Collagen also slows and reverses fine lines and wrinkles and adds elasticity to your skin. Aside from good genetics, from my Nigerian, Irish, and Spanish people, I don't have fine lines and wrinkles, and I'm well over 50. And I think collagen and a clean diet and other good lifestyle practices is one of the main reasons. So avoid unnecessary antibiotics, especially in your food. A lot of people will run to the doctor and get an antibiotic, but try to treat it at home naturally rather than taking an antibiotic, a situation where the antibiotics don't work as well and it will disrupt your microbiome or gut health. Medicinal mushroom tinctures for leaky gut, gastritis, and IBS. Turkey tail, reishi, and lion's mane mushrooms used as a tea or a tincture help calm the inflammatory response and protects the lining of the stomach. Lion's mane is also protective against H. pylori. Now that you're 11 on the right path for optimal gut health, here are your action steps. First, don't start any of these recommendations until you talk to your healthcare team. Gut health is a journey, not a destination. Making informed choices can alleviate symptoms that allow you to live better. Your gut is screaming for help. Don't ignore it. From the 60 to 70 million Americans battling digestive disorders to the veterans like Joe who reached out on X and John still fighting the war in his stomach, this crisis is real and personal. It's not just about bloating or pain. It's about reclaiming your energy, your vitality, your confidence, and your life. The good news? You have the power to fight back naturally, starting now. Imagine waking up without that churning in your stomach. Teaching a class like Sarah without fear of bloating, finding relief through simple changes. The path to better gut health begins with one bold step, taking action. Don't let stigma or dismissal stop you. Your body deserves better, and so do you. So here are your action steps to transform your gut health. Number 1, start a gut health journal today. Grab a notebook and track your meals, water intake, supplements, sleep, meditation and stress reduction, physical activities and symptoms for 14 days. Yes, it's important to track all of it. Spot triggers like GMO foods or processed snacks that could be sabotaging your gut. Knowledge is your first weapon, but our memories are not that great. So write it down. Number 2, swap out inflammatory food for a gut-friendly alternative. Replace processed snacks with probiotic-rich foods like sauerkraut or kimchi, added to a nutritious meal or snack. Try a Mediterranean-style meal with leafy greens and omega-3 rich fish this week. I'll share recipes for green smoothies and fruit and veggie smoothies in future podcasts. Small swaps lead to big wins. Number 3, reach out for support. Book an appointment with a doctor, naturopath, or a VA environmental health coordinator if you're a veteran. Don't wait. Early intervention can prevent years of suffering. Visit publichealth.va.gov for depleted uranium exposure screening. Number 4, join the conversation. Subscribe to the New Normal Big Life podcast at nnbl.blog for more upcoming episodes or gluten sensitivity, celiac disease myths, and more. Share your story on X to break the stigma and inspire others, and follow me on X too. Veterans, family members, active duty, and military supporters are welcome to join our Veterans United community on X. Number 5 is hydrate and move. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. For example, 75 ounces for a 150-pound person, and commit to 15 minutes of movement like walking, cycling, or jumping rope daily. Add lymphatic massage to boost your gut and lymphatic systems. You're not alone in this fight, whether you're a veteran carrying the weight of deployment or someone like Sarah battling silent symptoms. Every step forward counts. Take the first one today. Your gut, your mind, and your future self will thank you. Until next time, friends, I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, here at the New Normal Big Life podcast. I hope to see you on the river, in the backcountry, or in the horse barn, living your best life. Tag NNBL blog on X so we can see you living your new normal and big life. Share this episode with someone who needs it and support others in this community. Since 2012, the Health Ranger store has been answering your calls for a trustworthy, responsive, and affordable source of health-focused products. Built from scratch with its own US-based fulfillment center and dedicated in-house customer support, they've got you covered. From nutritional supplements and superfoods to storable foods and preparedness gear, they offer competitive prices on top-quality, lab-tested items. I'm excited to partner with the Health Ranger store to bring you the purest, most reliable products out there. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link to get started.